sitting here at BEA, Book Expo America right now with Ben Mezrich, who's the author of The Accidental Billionaires. You'll have to fill in the rest of the subtitle for me. I don't have it in front of me.
It's the true story of the founding of Facebook.
Right.
I think the subtitle is Sex, Genius, and Betrayal or something like that. But it's the true story of these two college kids who created Facebook in their dorm room at Harvard.
Right. It's Mark Zuckerberg,
Mark
Eduardo
Zuckerberg,
Saverin,
who everyone knows, and a kid named Eduardo Saverin, who nobody knows.
Right.
And then there were other kids who also claimed that it was their idea.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of different college kids who were involved, yeah.
So we'll dive into Facebook in a minute. It's obviously, there's a lot more to it than a lot of people know. Millions of people flooding onto Facebook right now. It's a huge phenomenon, along with Twitter and some of the other social networking things. What attracted you to this story?
Well, this story came out of the blue. I got an email at 2 in the morning from this kid who is a senior at Harvard, and he said, I got a story for you. And you hear that a lot, but I went and had a drink with him, and it was wild. It was in this ultra secret finals club at Harvard. They're like the skull and bones of Harvard, and in this place I met this gawky, geeky kid who had co-founded Facebook. And nobody knew who this kid was. And they started to tell me this story.
Is he the kid that emailed you?
No, it was another kid altogether. And I knew about Facebook. I love Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. But I didn't know that these kids had done it in their dorm room, and the things that went on were really spectacular. And so I got myself into their group, and I found my way through and found a whole story there, yeah.
That's a big part of your investigative routine. You get into the group.
Yeah.
I know that with your last book, Burning Down the House, or maybe not your last book, but Burning Down the House, which was made into a movie as well, 21.
Right, 21, yeah.
You actually smuggled $250,000 on your body into the airport.
I call it like method writing, where I become a part of the team. And to Bring Down the House, I would strap money to my body and be like the donkey boy in the movie 21, where I'd carry the money with the team. I played with them for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And so I like to find my way inside this story. With Accidental Billionaires, I basically used one connection to get another connection to find my way into sort of this group of brilliant young kids who created this revolution, basically. And I ended up hanging out at a lot of college parties, I was the old guy in the corner, but it was fun though.
Yeah.
It was a good, it's a good gig if you can get it.
Yeah. You know, the obviously now, because of some of the strange but true stories that you've sort of made a name for yourself with, people are seeking you out. In the case of this Facebook, they know your reputation. They're like, hey, let's go to Mezrich. He can do this thing.
I do. I get a lot. Every crazy kid who's done something wild will eventually email me or find me somehow. But it's been great. I mean, Bringing Down the House was a random thing where I ran into these kids in a bar and they had too much money on them and I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah.
So I followed them around and ended up in Vegas with them. And Facebook was the same way. Accidental Billionaires. These kids just contacted me, and then it's a matter of digging from there.
So when did you know you had a story in the Facebook thing?
You know what? I had a story the minute I met these kids, because I was a geeky kid at college too, and they really were just trying to meet girls. And you'll see on the back cover of the book, it just said they just wanted to meet some girls.
Yeah,
and that's
us that
the reality.
Story, though. Like, what happened?
So basically it all started with a college prank. Mark Zuckerberg, who everybody knows, late at night, hacked into all of Harvard's computers and took pictures of all the girls on campus and made a Hot or Not website where you could vote which is the hottest girl at Harvard. And he emailed it out to a couple friends. Well, it spread instantly, and 20,000 hits later, it froze all the computers at Harvard. And he nearly got kicked out of school. And so when this happened, he realized, you know what if girls could put their own pictures up and then you could just go visit and meet them and stuff? And that was the genesis. It was really a college prank gone wrong. And so that was pretty wild. I mean, that's a story that's not very well known. The other kid, Eduardo, was trying to get into one of these ultra secret finals clubs because he thought that's the way to become the cool guy on campus and get the girls he couldn't get. And it sort of came together in Facebook, which originally was very exclusive. You had to have a Harvard email address to get on it. And the idea was to sort of create a finals club online, and then it became this sort of social network.
It was all about getting girls.
Well, everything's all about getting girls, isn't it?
So.
I mean, but I think for these guys, it was really about being in the in crowd. I mean, these were geeky kids at school, and they wanted to be the cool kids on campus, and eventually they did become. Part of the fun part of the story is when Facebook gets big, they're suddenly stars, they become the cool kids on campus.
Right.
And it ended up driving them apart, which is where it gets kind of, as these things do, it pulls them apart when lots of money becomes involved.
So the story is embargoed. When we're talking right now, the book's not out yet. It's
no, I don't even have a
embargoed.
copy of the book. This is the ultra secret book right now because it's got a lot of controversial stuff in it. Facebook is such a huge company, and the people didn't want me to write it. A lot of the people at Facebook did not want to talk to me. And so it's one of those things where we needed to keep it secret up until the launch.
I guess it's a sign that you're getting really big. when the explosive behind-the-scenes story starts to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened with AOL. It's now happening with Facebook.
I mean, really, you know, when something happens so fast and goes from 2 kids in the dorm room to a $15 billion company in a matter of months, really, and these kids are still 25, you know, there's always going to be stories.
Yeah. So what are they saying? What's Facebook? I mean, they're obviously, I'm sure, not thrilled about
No,
this
they're
book.
emailing me 5 times a day trying to get a hold of the book and trying to figure out what I wrote, and
And
I'm
they're
very upset at the
lawyers
subtitle that says betrayal in it. They don't like the word betrayal.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the end, I'm a big fan of Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's a genius. I think what they did, I love Facebook. I'm on it every day. I think it's a revolution. It was like the move from villages to cities, and now cities to Facebook. This is the next revolution in human involvement, I think. So in the end, I think when they read it, they won't be as terrified as before they read it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. And apparently Hollywood is too.
Yeah.
Because we talked about 21, which is you made into a movie, or is a movie. Now already, Scott Rudin, Aaron Sorkin,
Yeah,
Kevin Spacey.
We got a great group. So Spacey and Dana Bernetti, his business partner, and Scott Rudin and Mike DeLuca are co-producing with Sony Pictures, who did 21, and Aaron Sorkin adapted the screenplay, and it was adapting while I was writing the book, which is a very odd experience, sitting in a hotel room in Boston, trading information back and forth. But he's a genius, a brilliant writer, and it's going to be a big movie from Sony. Yeah.
So is it almost like a co-writing experiment with Aaron Sorkin here?
Oh, I'd love to say that, but
Yeah.
in reality, it's his movie.
Yeah.
It was my book, and it's going to be awesome. I think he's such a real talent.
So that's what's happening a lot in movies now. I mean, they start to find where they want to go, and before the book even hits,
Yeah.
there's already
Well,
something
there's such
almost
a synergy
simultaneous.
now. I mean,
Yeah.
books and movies are one and the same now. I mean, in my opinion, the greatest movies came from books, you know? And so with Bringing Down the House, I had an amazing experience. Kevin Spacey's been a real shepherd to my projects. He's one of my first readers. When I finish a book, I send it to Kevin. And so it's really amazing having an A-list actor like that who can decide whether he wants to take a project forward. And
Yeah.
this was one of those ones, even from the very first page, he was involved in terms of reading it and knowing what I was doing.
Is the movie going to use the words Facebook and
Oh, it's all real names. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a true story. These are public figures.
Yeah.
And it's a very big phenomenon. So, you know, changing the name would have been lame, I
Yeah.
think. I really wanted to put it out there. This is the story of Facebook. And yeah, the movie's going to use it too.
So you've established quite a name for yourself now. You did Ugly Americans, you did, Bringing Down the House, you did all of that, and now you're doing the Accidental Billionaires. This is like kind of a thing for you. You've really established yourself.
I'm trying to create my own genre, and you know, it's young kids on the edge doing crazy things and
Fast-paced.
Yeah, fast-paced, and they're on that gray area, and I love those stories. I like hanging out with these people. I like living their lives as much as I can, and that's what I like to write about.
You do that while at the same time you're not necessarily drawing any conclusions about
No.
their behavior.
Right.
How do you do that?
Well,
It's a
first of all, I don't
journalistic-
judge anybody, and you know, in my opinion, I'm fans of all of them. I'm not a hatchet guy. Facebook shouldn't be scared of me because I only say good things about people. You know, if you read Bring Down the House, I love those kids. And Accidental Billionaires, I think these guys are great. I don't make any moral judgments, and I try and live vicariously through them. And yet, I'm scared of everything. I'm a very neurotic author. So for me, I watch what happens, but then I have to run away at the end. And so, you know, I only live their lives to the level that I can handle it, and then run away.
Well, you're doing some innovative stuff, and you've been writing for a long time now.
I have.
And you've also written fiction, but often under a different name.
Yeah, I've written. This is
Holden
my
Scott.
11th book, actually.
Yeah. So
I
what's
wrote-
up with the
pen name? Holden Scott. It's
Holden Scott.
it's my dream WASP name. If I had been non-ethnic, I would have been Holden Scott. But I wrote a couple books under Holden Scott. Skeptic and the Carrier. Back when I was writing fiction, Bringing Down the House was my first non-fiction book. So I originally started out writing thrillers, and I wrote for the X-Files. I did a book for them once, and stuff like that. But really, the non-fiction is my voice. Like, this is where I sort of discovered what I want to write, and that's what I've been doing since.
Yeah, I think you have found that crossroads, that coming together, that adrenaline-fueled thing between movies and books.
I hope so.
And it's a unique place to be. There's not a lot of other people doing your thing. Do you know if that's a genre truly? Have you ever seen anybody else doing what you're doing?
You know, I see other people who are working in that realm, but I feel like, I don't know, I am a creature of television and movies. I spend all my time watching TV and movies. So when I write my books, I write it in a very cinematic fashion, and I do that just because that's the way I think. I think in images. And so when I sat down to write Accidental Billionaires, I definitely was thinking, I was viewing it as I wrote it, and the same thing with Bringing Down the House. So, I mean, it's definitely something I do on purpose. I think that movies and books, you know, we're coming closer and closer together, and eventually, you know, as it all becomes electronic media anyways, it's all pretty much the same thing.
So with Accidental Billionaires, like the other books, you were able to sort of get in with this group and get to know the guys. That's the other side of the equation, though. That's the Eduardo Saverin side of the equation. Were you able to do the same thing on the Facebook side?
Well, I mean, the thing about this is there were definitely people who didn't want me to write this book. Mark Zuckerberg did not talk to me, as is his right. He's done an amazing thing with his career. He doesn't know me. He doesn't want to talk to me.
Right.
But a lot of people did talk to me. So it was a matter of finding the sources. It was harder than bringing down the house in that they were all my buddies. I was going to Vegas every weekend with them. This one I was actively finding people who knew things, and the story is out there also. I mean, there's so many court documents, there's so many depositions, and there's a lot of college kids who were there. And there's a lot of source material. And so it was a fun but hard process, and there definitely are people who are not happy about it and are not excited to see this book come out, which is why nobody has a copy right now. I mean, it's been kept very secret.
So you think, you're a big fan of Facebook, you've already said that. What do you think is the future of Facebook? A lot of people wonder if it's a long term or if it's just sort of a passenger to something bigger.
Right, if it's Friendster, if it's the next Friendster. I believe Facebook is going to be huge and keep getting bigger and bigger. I mean, they crossed 200 million people, which is huge if you think about it. And the people who use it spend hours a day on it. I mean, it's their new lifestyle. So I think it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I really see it at 1 billion members one day. And there could be missteps. There could be mistakes made. They've made a few mistakes. They've angered a lot of people, but I really think it's a format that could just get bigger and bigger and bigger as people get more and more on their cell phones. You communicate through Facebook now. Your social network is now digital through Facebook, and that's an amazing thing. Kids, 14, 15-year-olds, they live on Facebook. 50% of their lives are on Facebook.
It's not just 15, 16-year-olds, a lot of adults now.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see that older crowd flocking to Facebook now too, reconnecting with high schools.
Yeah,
it's sort of
absolutely. If you go on Facebook right now, you'll get 3 people out of nowhere you haven't seen in 20 years trying to be your friend. Yeah. And it's strange, but I think it's the future. I think Facebook just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, there's a funny article on The Onion right now about the CEO of all the people at Classmates.com are trying to hide Facebook from the CEO of Classmates.com. They're trying to pretend it doesn't exist because it's just gobbled up, obviously, all that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the #1 picture sharing site now. Yeah. I mean, that's something they didn't even set out to do, and yet that's where all pictures end up now.
Right.
And it's just one of those things that's going to slowly swallow up everything else.
Well, then I think that you're probably right. I bet you your Facebook friends are wondering what's in the book, but ultimately it's probably just going to drive a lot more attention to Facebook.
Listen, I hope so, but you know what? They could freak out also. Yeah. We'll see what happens when the book comes out.
So when does the movie come out?
Well, the movie is moving very quickly. I have a feeling they're going to try and go into production later this year. So you can never tell with Hollywood, but the screenplay is there, and there's a lot of big people attached, so the odds of it getting made quickly are pretty big.
Yeah, well, that's great. Can't wait to read it.
Oh, thank you.
Can't wait for the embargo to be lifted and us to be able to dive in. By the time people watch this, it might be.
Yeah.
So I wish you all the best of luck, though. It's really cool meeting you, Ben.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.